Hey girl, hey. Yeah. Woo, woo. Hey girl, hey. Ooh, let's go. Hey girl, hey. Yeah. Woo, woo. Hey girl, hey. Ooh, let's go.
Hey girl, hey.
Hey to the Hey Girl Hey podcast, and I'm your host, Kim Miller. Thank you for tuning in to episode 33. I hope everybody is doing wonderful and having a great week. I am doing well. My baby just turned 1 month. Shout out to little baby Aubrey. So that's exciting. And listen, I'm excited about this episode, so I'm not going to take too much time, but I do want to go ahead and get into my Hey Girl so we can hurry up and get into this interview. And I decided when we were doing the marriage seminar, our series, that I wanted to do my Hey Girls to a wife every week for these 4 weeks. I promise you I will get back to my single ladies who are out here killing it. But for these 4 weeks, I'm making sure to shout out wives because being a wife is hard sometimes. So I just want to shine some light and send some love to my beautiful wives out here. So this week, I want to do my Hey Girl to Miss Shani Former, who is, I had her as a guest on my show, you guys, and I'm going to have her back. We had some technical difficulties, so I wasn't able to air that episode, but we are planning to get back together. But Shani is an amazing girl who is killing it out here as a wife. She is kind of moving into a marriage. I think she's considering herself a relationship coach, but really, really specializing in dating and dating with a purpose and preparing for marriage. She just went to Dubai this past week and got to speak. She's an author. She is just out here killing it. I love having people in my life who I can kind of look to for inspiration and just learn and grow from. And she's one of those people. So we have a mutual friend, Jaren. Shout out to Jaren Horde. And that is her best friend. I met her through her at her wedding, which was like, man, I don't know, 8 years ago. We all just been married a long time now, but she's a beautiful person, so I will make sure to tag her so you guys can follow everything that she's doing. But shout out to Shani. Hey girl, you are my Hey Girl for the week. I love you. Keep killing it. Keep inspiring us ladies out here, single and married. You're inspiring us all. So I love you. I love you. I love you. But I want to get right into this episode. I am already joined with my guests, who I'm so excited about. My friends, I've been friends with these guys for a very, very long time. So this is Miss Dom and Aaron English. Say hey, y'all.
Hey, hey girl, hey.
They are joining me from Nashville, Tennessee. And you guys are in Nashville, right? Are you guys in the suburb? Nashville. Okay. They're joining me from Nashville. And when I started the podcast, Dom, first of all, you've been somebody who supported me from jump. So thank you for that. I got my day one supporters. Whatever. You are one of my day ones for real. And that, you don't even know how much that encourages me when like people who know me for real are just out here like happy and proud. And that just makes my heart glad. And like, I just want to keep pressing forward. But I knew I wanted y'all to come on the show at some point because I just think y'all have such an amazing story that I feel like doesn't get told a lot. Sometimes you hear the opposite of y'all's story. So
Right.
I wanted y'all from day one, and I just was waiting for the stars to align, but they have aligned. And I'm going to kind of let y'all talk freely, but you guys, we come from a church back in Buffalo that had a lot of couples that were getting married around the same time. Some have survived, some have not. It's so sad to me, but you guys are one of the ones that have survived. We survived, girl. We out here.
Good job. Did we?
We are out here. But you guys dealt with infidelity, which is something that a lot of couples, it's a lot of people's like greatest fear. It's a topic that's very, very taboo and people don't talk about, but you guys dealt with it and came out on the other side. So I wanted you guys to share y'all story. So talk a little bit about y'all dating and how y'all got married. You guys were very, very young when y'all got married, but you dated for a decent amount of time, as far as I understand.
Yeah, like 4 years.
Yeah. Okay, so get into it. Get into your dating story leading up to marriage, what that was like.
So, do you want the truth or the story we're going to tell our kids?
No, only the truth on here. Kids don't listen to the podcast.
So, Aaron and I met on MySpace.
We met on MySpace.
We dating ourselves, but that's okay.
Tom hooked us up.
Yes. Come on.
We are telling Aaron and Alyssa we met at Starbucks in college. Okay?
That's equivalent to Starbucks in 2019, basically.
Yeah. Definitely was. Yeah, so Aaron literally hit me in my DM, but back then it was just called
Inbox.
Yeah.
Dude, I was just firing out messages. You know, I think around that same time, like I was in between out of college and everything from being at Paul Smith's, was single and really wasn't necessarily looking for a girlfriend, but was just looking for somebody to possibly just hang out with.
Yeah.
And I shot a few out there, and she replied back, you know, so I was like, okay.
Cool. Yeah.
It's so weird that I even responded. I was just a young thing, you know.
How old were you, Dom, when you met Aaron?
Okay, so I think when we did our live about our 10 years, we had discovered that I was 17, but I was not. I was 18 years old.
Okay.
Because we celebrated, and I didn't talk to Aaron about the math, but we celebrated my 19th birthday in Canada.
Okay.
That was our first birthday celebrating.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why it was so significant that we went to Canada, because, you know, you couldn't partake of adult beverages.
In
Yes.
Canada, and you could at that point.
Yeah, so I figured it out. So I was 18.
Okay.
When we officially
and Aaron
started
was 23.
Okay. Okay. Aaron, make sure you stay in the shot. There you go. Make sure. There you go. That's
he
perfect.
did not R. Kelly me.
Make it
Just had to
plain.
put that out there.
Make it plain, please. I didn't know you were. I knew you were older than Dom. I didn't know by how much. That's not bad. That's not bad.
Exactly 5.
Okay.
Exactly 5 apart. So, yeah. So he hit me up on in the inbox, and I responded to him, and we talked a lot, like through MySpace and then text message for a really long time, because Aaron actually hit me up. I mean, almost probably a couple weeks after his father had passed.
Okay.
In November of 06 or 06, right?
Yeah.
And then we officially met in January of 07.
Okay.
You know, because I was like working and going to school, and he was working a lot too. And I didn't know him, you know, so we officially met, and our first date was I needed to go to the mall to do some stuff like shop or whatever.
Uh-huh.
We ended up, what did we end up doing?
I wanted to go see Medea. I wanted to go see a Medea flick.
Oh, wow.
Which I did not care for at all.
But shout out to Tyler Perry, but...
Yeah, so it's just like, I don't really care for dudes and drag and all that. And she's just like,
you gotta stop that, babe.
It's so funny.
He might hire me.
He might want us on the show or something.
Right.
No,
But
a lot of dudes don't be feeling it.
Tyler.
Yeah. We do love you, Tyler. Let it be known.
I like some of his shows.
Yeah.
I don't really care for the Medea stuff too much. But
I feel you.
I don't know, the one show that made it on television, but it got cut off, or to do with a firefighter or something like that.
Oh, I don't even know that one.
It was the show that his first show that he had on like TBS.
I know you're talking about. Yeah, from the dude from House. Yes.
But you know, we saw the original pilot. We had the original before it hit TV, so it was like even better.
What?
Before the TV chopped it up.
Yeah, y'all had the inside scoop. What?
Yeah. But that was our first date. We ended up going to see that. So that's how I can always mark the date.
Yeah. Because
it was literally the opening weekend. We just went on a Monday.
Oh, my goodness.
Because I had to go to Bible study. I don't know if you remember Pastor Mary Smith.
Yeah, for sure. She moved away soon after I came, I think.
Yep. Yeah. So she had started, Heaven Bound. So Nikki.
Shout out to Nikki. That's
Raina.
Maddie's godmother.
Yep. Shout out to Nikki.
What?
Her and Raina came to pick me up because at that time, you know, I was riding the train and stuff like that. I didn't have my car.
Yeah.
And they came to pick me up from the train station so we can go to Bible study. And, you know, Aaron was in there, and we like gave each other a kiss, and they're like, gave each other a kiss on the first day. I was being a little fast.
That's okay.
I didn't know what to do though. He was like older. I'm like,
but y'all had already been talking for a little while, so
we had, and I really liked him. He was like so, like he is now, super chill and like 100%. You can feel yourself completely with Aaron. Like he doesn't force, his personality doesn't force you to like pretend.
Yeah,
it's just like just be who you are with me. And that's how he has been since the very beginning. So I felt comfortable with him right away.
Yeah. So how long did you guys date?
Until we got married?
Yeah.
Ooh, that was a test too, but it was 4 years.
4 years.
4 years. So you 18 to 22 getting married. What was dating like for you guys? Did you guys have like ups and downs dating, or was it pretty on the uprising knowing you were moving towards like marriage at some point?
There's definitely moments, because, I mean, you think about it, you start dating and you deal with, who's your guy friends or who's your girl or old girlfriends that you may have had, or girls that are just really friends. Yeah. And
I'm crazy.
So there's a lot. There was stuff like that we had to deal with. Yeah. And be like, I mean, I wouldn't even say like setting boundaries or something like that, but just really you have to build that trust to be able to say like, okay, like that's just some guy from church, or that's just a girl that you knew from high school that you talk to every now and then. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that was definitely like some tough times, but definitely pushed through it. That's for sure.
Yeah. I think also we struggled with a lot of our struggle was I am a church. I was a church girl. Yeah. Right. I was in church all the time. Aaron went to church, but he was very far from being, the typical church boy. Right. Yeah. So he would go to church, to make me happy. And, he had his own experience with God. So, it became more real to him, and he built a relationship with God as time went on. But we really struggled with that. Yeah.
That wasn't normal for me. Yeah. Like I went as a kid, and when I did go to church as a kid, it was, and I'd still kind of deal with it today. It was just like questions of like life. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Where do we go? What happens when this happens? Just learning how to believe and, have faith, and then when I started going as a kid, it pulled me in, but then I started working and stuff. Yeah. Being 13, 14, you get a paper route, and then just never found time to go back to church. And I really didn't go back until I met Dominique, and that's when I got back, into going design and everything. So yeah.
So that was tough because you didn't have that foundation like Dom had. So it was different.
Right.
Yeah. So in retrospect, from your dating experience into marriage, is there anything that you feel like was maybe like something you guys didn't work through, or like a red flag that you wish you had kind of dealt with better when dating that would have prepared you better for marriage?
I would think it would just be individual things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So for me, I wish I really would have dealt with myself. I heard Pastor Trinity and his wife talk last week.
He's not a pastor, but I think it's. I feel like he's a pastor, but he's gonna crack up when he hears you say that.
Well, hey girl, hey pastor.
Yes.
So him and his wife, when they were speaking last week, they were talking about. I think he said he had to go to therapy before they had gotten married, and she had said she wished she would have because she would have dealt with some things before. And I would say for me, the same exact thing. I definitely went to therapy, throughout my life. But leading into marriage for myself, I did not. And I wish I did, because I applied so much unnecessary pressure. Yeah. On Aaron, and I can be honest about that. Had I done that and just kind of gotten to know myself and gotten over like image and all of that crap, I think that would have helped a lot. But I mean, flash forwarding, I'm okay with everything because this is what we've come to, and I'm happy with it.
Absolutely. So. That's a good point, though. No one pushes, like when you go to premarital, and for us, premarital counseling was necessary. We had to do it. But nobody ever talked about like getting individual counseling. And that is so important for women for sure. But that's a really good point. That's a really, really good point. What about you, Aaron? Is there anything that you wish you would have dealt with dating that would have helped you within the marriage?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good point of, working on yourself as an individual as well. I think even then I was definitely going on, there was a lot of stuff going on, between not finishing school, my dad passing away, I was, I drank a lot, and I was, I did a lot of different things where, I probably could have sought help when it came with that, and it could have made things a lot easier for me and Dominique when it comes to how we were connecting, spiritually, and you know what I mean? And
yeah.
Coping,
yeah, and just being able to deal with things. I even think we lived together as well, most of the time that we were, I don't know, I'm just saying.
No, we are real. We
did.
Absolutely.
While we were dating and stuff, and I just always remember, going to counseling and all that type of stuff, and it was just like, well, you guys need to live on your own so you really can, master yourself and, managing your own bills, managing your own home and keeping things tidy and not depending on each other.
Yeah.
During the dating phase, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So like that, I think as well is something that I wish that, we would have done, that where it probably would have made things that much more better when we came together. Cause then it would have been like everybody done taking care of everything they needed to.
Yeah.
During a dating period, and then you bring it together, and then you should be great.
Yes. That's true. I feel like I feel the same way. I wish that we had done all those things that y'all just said. Literally. Yeah. So those are really, really good points. So now y'all are married, and you have 2 beautiful children. I know from just being friends with Dom, I know you had Nugget and Madison are the same age.
Yeah.
So that was close around the same time. So, okay, so you're married, things are going great. You probably had ups and downs like every other couple.
Yeah.
But at what point did you get to, we're approaching the infidelity now. Let's talk a little bit about where you were during that time period, kind of what got you there. Because I really feel like hearing people talk about infidelity, I feel that it's not something that normally just happens overnight. It's normally something that has kind of built up from a slew of things that have taken place within the relationship, possibly. So I want to hear you guys talk about that, because I have never heard anybody that I know talk about this in depth. So Dom, you go first. No, let's let Aaron go first. So okay. Aaron, where were you when that took place, and what is the thought behind infidelity and how that comes up for a man in a man's perspective?
Yeah. So what I would say is a lot of times, I guess, like we're 2 different people. So what I might find fun, Dominique didn't find as fun, or might not want to go out, whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. So there was a lot of times that where we were doing things separately. Mm-hmm. If I was, going out to a bar or hanging out with friends, whatever it may be, I was doing my own thing at times. And then just to kind of probably coincide with whatever issues were going in the home, if it was like, if we're fighting about finances or someone keeping something neat and tidy, or if it was time, or if it's sex, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like all those things started to pile up. Mm. And then with me, again, going out and doing my own thing and wanting to party and stuff like that. And not to say like I was looking for attention from someone, but that happened. Mm-hmm. That attention happened, and I fell for it. Mm. You know what I mean? And I think as a man, and I think it could be the same thing for a woman too, but, if you get some attention and it's like a rush, and you might want to do it again.
Yeah.
And that's what happened, So with everything that was going on in the home, as far as our stresses and us fighting and bickering and going back and forth, when I was out, I was like, I was free. You know what I'm saying? Like, mm-hmm. I wasn't being bothered. I'm kicking it. I'm having a good old time. And I'm just having fun. It was like, not to say like I was single and I still had a ring on my finger, but, that other person didn't care once I started talking about what my problem was. Mm. You know what I mean? So let me dive into that, because like you're saying some really important stuff. Like I don't want to get lost, because this is just a good conversation. Yeah. So I think it's important to mention like the things that you guys may have been dealing with, like finances,
untidiness of the house, kids, whatever. Like those are things that every couple goes through, right? So do you feel like the attention piece was the biggest part of it, or do you feel like you were overwhelmed from what was going on in the house, or was it just a combination? I lost y'all for a second. Are y'all there?
There you go.
You there?
You're back.
Okay.
Yeah. You were frozen for a second.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Did you hear my question, or do I need to repeat it?
Repeat it for me.
I was saying like the things that you were going through within the house, like that are like everyday marriage stuff. Do you feel like that was a bigger factor, or do you feel like the attention piece is a bigger factor for a man?
I think that was the things that were going on in the home was a bigger factor because I was escaping it.
Okay.
I was trying to get away from it.
Wow. Okay.
You know, so it was like, you know, you're not gonna clean the room up, or you're not gonna, you know, do this. Like you've been home all day or something. Mm-hmm. You didn't do anything. You sat around all day, and I was gone at work, and you didn't do a thing. I'm like, what is this? I'm out of here. I'm like,
literally, that's what was said.
So,
oh wow, okay.
And one car. I didn't need a car. We were in Buffalo.
You know, Aaron ain't care nothing about a car. He ride that bicycle.
No, not in Buffalo. Yeah.
and I was gone.
Yes.
You know, so and that it was more or less what was going on at home that I was just trying to escape it. Yeah. I was just trying to get away, and I just wanted to enjoy myself elsewhere. Yeah. Besides sitting in my house and, you know, dealing with the problem.
Right. So for you, how easy is it to go from like this conversation that maybe starts with a very regular conversation with the woman to like a full out affair? Like what is that transition like? Because for me, I always think about like, as a woman, there will be so many steps that I would have to take mentally to even get from A to Z. But I'm wondering, is that the same for men? Like, does that happen very quickly for you in terms of the mental transition?
I mean, I think it can be quick, and I think it could also, you know, be a slow transition as well, where you're, you know, talking back and forth, you know, texting or meet me here, you know what I'm saying, type of stuff. Like, I think it can be that type of transition as well, but depending on that other party as well, or like I said again, like it's almost kind of like there's that rush in it where you're like, ooh, I just did that, you know what I mean? Like, and then you have to deal with the fact of, you know, there is some guilt there and trying to keep this suppressed and to hide it and all that type of stuff that does fester on you. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't say like it's like an easy process or anything like that. It's, you know, I think no matter which way it goes, it was definitely kind of tough to deal with. Mm-hmm.
So you could are you able to talk about yourself specifically, like what that time frame looked like for you?
What it looked like for me? As if like how
the night, remember I asked you what happened
when I was at the bar? Yeah. So I always tell Dominique, like, when it definitely comes to all this, like I tried, like it's there, but I always try to feel as though I have like short-term memory, because it's something that I don't really want to always really, you know, deal with. You know what I mean? But kind of, I guess, for that night, you know, it was just there's a lot of drinking, a lot of drinking, a lot of beers, shots. You know, I probably smoked as well. You know, and it was somebody that I had met before. You know, and we just continued to kick it, and it was, you know, like, hey, do you have to go home? And I was like, nah, like I'm out. You know what I mean? Like, let's do whatever. And we just went back to her place to chill. And then pretty much just one thing just led to another, you know, and not to like blame, you know, alcohol and, you know, the substances that I was doing, but it was just like things were just like building up to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because of everything that was going on in the home. So I don't want to necessarily blame the fact that, you know, I was out and partying, you know, for the reason why I did what I did. But it just, everything going on at home just made it seem like whatever.
Yeah.
You know, it happened, and it was, with her, it was one night.
Okay.
So, that was one thing. And obviously, we kept going, and more fighting just continued to happen, you know, and things just never got fixed at home outside of the fact that I ran off and did that myself. So,
And I want you to know, Aaron, like this conversation is, I don't want you to feel like I'm just making you talk about your business. I think it's so important because although you come from a lifestyle where, you know, you drink and that was your life or whatever, but I don't feel like that is a huge factor. I feel like any man, it's important to know if you're overwhelmed in the home, you can fall victim to this. I really do feel that way. I feel like if you're not in a space of you guys knowing how to work through that, any man can fall. Whether it's they going to church getting that attention from somebody, they going to corporate America getting that attention. So it's just like a really important conversation. And I'm so grateful that you're being so honest. So I just want to say thank you so much because I know that's really, really hard to talk about. Very, very hard to
absolutely.
talk about. So
I totally dig it. Yeah, no doubt.
Thank you. Dom, okay, so from this situation that took place, how did you find out about that, and where were you? Because now the woman is on the other side where we're kind of known for being like the naggers and the da-da-da-da-da, but we don't want to be this way. It's just like,
we really don't.
I promise we don't, y'all. We just want to live. We just want to live and go shop and get our hair done and just raise the children.
Absolutely true.
But I totally know how it feels to get in that space where you know all these things are going on and ain't nobody saying nothing, so you got to say it. You got to call it. But what was that like for you on the other side of that?
You know, man, hearing this again choked me up a bit.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah.
It did, you know. But, and I mean, what he told me from day one is, you know, the same story today. Mm-hmm. And the crazy part about it, Kim, is I would have to rewind to tell how I felt, right? Mm-hmm. And what happened, because there was a period of our marriage where Aaron and I actually lived with his auntie.
When I passed away.
No, remember Auntie?
Yes.
Yeah, that's my girl.
Yes.
And we were just going through a lot, but Auntie made it open for us to stay with her so we can just stack our money, so we can do whatever we want. That's just the person she was, right?
Yeah.
And there was a period there where I fell out of love with Aaron, I think.
Okay.
Like, I wasn't interested, you know, I was still his wife and, you know, doing what I had to do. But I wasn't happy. Mm-hmm. Right. And then, you know, I don't know what happened. We kind of came back together and, you know, he was like, yeah, you know, I want my other baby. And then Alyssa came. Mm-hmm. So it was so crazy because I was no longer interested in being married, I don't think, right before we conceived Alyssa. Wow. And then my pregnancy, I was like so happy, you know, the whole way through. I really was. So this whole situation honestly blindsided me then, right? But now, you know, in hindsight, no, Dominique, you knew it all along. Yeah. Because what happened was we had just had Alyssa. And actually, Kim, the craziest thing is this is today or yesterday was the day that I found out. Yeah. So this is the time, because our anniversary that year was so fake. You know, it was a fake post. Happy anniversary. And what happened was Aaron and I were not talking. Like, we got into a fight, but then we weren't talking. Like, you know, at that time, most of the time he slept in the living room because I snore really loud. But he always came back to the room to get what he needed, right? Yeah, yeah. So what happened was, it was like 3 weeks where, you know, we had Alyssa, so I was over that little time period where I couldn't, you know, get it in. Yeah. And he wasn't coming back to the room. And it was just so distant. Like, we were not talking. So, like, at the end of the day, Aaron and I have been together since I was 18.
Yeah.
So he's my friend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Regardless of anything, this is my homeboy. And it was just so weird because we weren't talking.
Yeah.
We weren't cooking together. And I knew I was just going through so much. I suffer with postpartum depression with both of my children.
Okay.
And the thing about it is I dealt with depression and anxiety long before children and Aaron came along.
Yeah.
So I know that I wasn't doing some of the normal things that I normally would do. After I had my second child, it was like, no, I don't want to go out and hang out with your friends who don't have kids and have the responsibilities we do.
Yeah.
And it's more important for me to be at home with my children and go to church because that's what's going to get me where I need to go in life. Right.
Yeah.
So I noticed that something was wrong. And I remember sitting down, Alyssa, I was like changing her diaper. Aaron came in the house and I'm like, what is wrong? Like, are you having an affair?
What?
I don't even know why I asked that question because
you just probably
I made
knew.
it very clear to this man.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. No, I'm not lying. Like, when Aaron and I were just talking on MySpace and text message, I used to tell him, dude, never like cheat on me, okay? Like, just don't do it. Just be like, hey, like, because I'm cool enough. Just say, hey, girl, I'm just going to go ahead and slide with this one real quick, you know, because this ain't working out. I mean, I told him this from the very beginning.
Wow.
So, and I don't know why, because I had never been cheated on. I mean, I'd only really been in one real relationship before I met Aaron. And it was never like any, you know, it was, nobody was going to cheat on each other.
Yeah.
So they weren't. So I just didn't, I don't know why that was something I told him from the very beginning.
Yeah.
So, you know, I sat down and I was like, dude, are you having an affair or something? And he was like, no. And we just like went on about our night, right? So I had to go to work the next day. I didn't know what was going on. He ended up leaving, you know, like going out or whatever. And I had to go to work. And I remember I worked for an insurance company back at home. And I remember him sending me this long text message. And he was like, you asked me last night, was I having an affair? And he was like, I'm not having an affair, but I did have a one-night stand. And, you know, he just went on in the conversation. And I mean, at that time, you know, he put all the blame on me, right? Because that's a natural reaction. These are things I'm learning now.
Yeah.
So I can speak like that. And that was that. And when I tell you my heart dropped.
Yeah.
And I'm very, very close with my godmother. But she didn't answer the phone. So I called my mommy, which a normal person would call their mom, right?
Yeah.
But I was just so close with my godparents, and they were here. My mother was way in Nashville at the time.
Yeah.
But it was God that I called my mom because it was her rightful position to handle me at that time. And man, my parents have been divorced since I was 5 years old. Both of them remarried. Both have been married for like 25 years now, right? So, but one thing my mother had never done in my entire life was spoke ill of my father, ever. I never knew why her and my dad really got divorced, you know, none of that. And they all have such a good relationship. I have 4 parents, right? And I remember my mommy saying, she was just crying and she was just like, it's like a death. I know it. And then she, you know, she just went into, that's how I felt with your dad.
Oh, wow. And you didn't know that until that moment.
Never knew it to that moment. So it was almost like I'd taken her hurt and then my hurt. And she was just like, Dominique, it's going to feel like a death. And she said, you know, she was just talking to me. And, you know, my mom, God is everything. Like, you know, just a normal hello. It's hello, woman of God.
Yeah.
You know, she's super intense.
Yeah.
And it's not fake. That's who she is.
Right.
So she went into all of that. And, you know, I let it go. And I went home and I tried for a few days. It just messed me up because it was just too much.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm sorry. We got to backpedal a little bit because you said a lot of stuff, and I was just letting you talk. Like, girl, this is.
Sorry.
I'm like making sure I remember all the stuff I wanted to say. Okay, I want to go all the way back. When you say, Jesse's gonna kill me. Like all these clapping that I'm doing, he's gonna be like, Kim, all of that.
It's getting real.
It picks up. Okay. You said you fell out of love with Aaron. Why do you think you fell out of love with him? Do you think it was just because life was just heavy at that point and y'all were dealing with a lot, or do you think it was something really between you and him that you had lost?
I think it was just life, Kim. I think that I felt like we weren't going anywhere. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I felt like, and this is all my fault, because remember, a while ago I said I should have went to counseling beforehand, so I could deal with myself, and from my background, image was everything, And I felt like looking at my peers, like you guys, all of us got married at the same time, right? And my friends are buying homes and new cars and all of this stuff. And we live in an auntie house. Yeah. And I was and then at that time I was making a good amount. And that was always an issue. At that time I was making a good amount of money for Buffalo. Mm-hmm. And, I felt like Aaron wasn't meeting me. Mm. So I want to say I was kind of smelling myself a bit. Okay.
And you were a little bit, sounds like you were becoming like resentful a little bit. So that was. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And I was just like, you know what? I can do this by myself. Me and Nugget will be fine. Mm. And that's how my mind was going. And it was so crazy because I was like uninterested and Aaron was like so interested in me at that time in our life. Yeah. It was crazy.
And so, because that's important to know that you can fall out of love with somebody just because of life. Like I'm a firm believer that if you don't mm-hmm. have a foundation of this is my friend, like
right.
life will take you out of this thing we call love, because that goes away real quick when the bills is due and you got $2 and you just like hold up. Yeah. So I think that you guys were friends is what kept y'all together. Absolutely. I would imagine. Then you get pregnant with Alyssa. Then all this happens. So you mm-hmm. say that you tried to make it work for those couple days. And I just want to remember, like, I remember this moment, and I'm wondering, was this the same time? I would love for y'all to tell me, at church where Aaron came to church, like, crying out for you. Like, he was, like, very emotional, and Pastor prayed for him. And it was kind of like I could tell you was kind of like,
no, girl, I laughed. Girl, I remember that time.
You remember that time?
Girl, I was like running for my car. Girl, that was early on in our marriage.
Oh, okay. But let me just tell you how special that was to me. And I know in that,
always talk about that.
I think that, and that's one thing I like about Aaron, and that's why I wanted y'all on, because I feel like mm-hmm. Aaron has a rawness about him that he don't care what nobody think about him at the end of the day. And
I really don't.
I know, I could tell. And that's so important to me that, it made sense that you fought for your family because of that night. You know what I mean? Like I could tell that you would be the type of person, regardless of if everything fell apart, you would not give up on fighting for your family. And so that's what like stuck out about this story. So anyway, okay, sorry. I had like a little rant there. But so you tried to make it work for those couple days, and when you say try to make it work, you were just trying to process it and maybe work through it at that point, or where were you at during those days where you were struggling but still in there?
So we weren't working through it.
Okay.
I was just a zombie. Mm. So what happened was, and I told you this the other day, I was like, Kim, you don't even realize you are the first person I told. Mm-hmm. And that and what happened was this, you texted me, I think like 2 days after, and it was about a game night, because I was supposed to do like a couples game night. Yeah. And I think you wanted to make sure Jesse was in town because he was traveling for music and stuff. So I was just like, you just happened to text me in the thick of it. I mean, I didn't even tell my best friends yet because I didn't know what was happening. Yeah. And I was like, girl, I don't even think me and Aaron gonna be married anymore. I think we about to separate. And you were just like, and I saw it in your text. You know how you
I grabbed my heart. Yeah.
Oh my God, Dom.
Yes.
And you said, I am praying for you guys, and you just let me know what you need. Da, 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 da. And we left it at that. So I'd say, so this is October, I would say for about 3 weeks, I ended up telling my godparents. I think I told my goddaddy, because I came to church looking like a zombie one day. He was like, what the heck is going on with you?
Yeah.
I was just like, Aaron cheated on me. And, it just went from there. So I think for 3 weeks, I was just living in the house. It was just like, he worked his day job. And we had moved this entire place, before Alyssa was born. So he was like working his day job. So I think, Auntie had Alyssa while I was at work. And then at night, he would like be out, or we just weren't we weren't together. It was just kind of like
passing by.
We got to show face for Nugget.
Yeah.
Because, Nugget is a feeler, so like smart. I am.
Yeah.
Ooh, so, we just really had to like figure that out. We couldn't be too much together around Nugget because he would figure it out.
Yeah.
So we did that until Thanksgiving.
Okay. And then y'all separated?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was, I think, the night before Thanksgiving, or the night before Thanksgiving is like the biggest party day of the year or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And Aaron went out and didn't come home, and I just, told him not to come back.
Well, I was working. But granted, yeah.
He worked at a bar, so he was out.
Okay. And Aaron, how did you feel when Dom told you not to come back? Like, where were you at that point? Were you like relieved because it was so bad at that point, or were you like, dang? Like, what was that like?
It was like it was somewhat of like a sense of relief, kind of. It was. I mean, because it was like, I don't have to deal with her mess anymore.
Yeah, no, I could understand that at that point. Yeah.
At the same time, I also was saying to myself, like, damn, I do have 2 kids,
right? And
I do have a wife.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So. It was definitely a little bit of both, but at the same, and then I started with the relief part, I started to think like, oh, we'll make it work, because like you just, you're saying like people can't fall out of love, people do have kids, people do get divorced, people do co-parent, and so on and so on, and I think that was in my mind when it came to the sense of relief. I was like, I tried to be, going into that separation, and when we were separated, to be as cool as possible as I could with Dominique when it came to just about anything or whatever. But obviously, it's not gonna. It doesn't.
But you did try that night when I told you not to come back. He did. He kept saying, "Dominique, just let me come home. I'm sorry." He was like, I fell asleep or something. So he was trying that night.
Yeah.
But. We had faked the funk for almost a month. Yeah. And I was just like, man, you can just like, you can stay. Because I was just like, I'm good.
You was over it at that point.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things we were taught. Oh, you go ahead.
I'm sorry. I had to think, like my personality trait, I'm a thinker feeler, right? Yeah. So I thought about it.
Yeah.
2 weeks I walked around like a zombie. And then the other 2, his aunt, that's his blood aunt, but she also got me together, and she like, you're a woman, you could do that.
Yeah. And,
and I started to do the math, and I was like, I can handle this. So I was just like, okay, you can stay.
Yeah.
You can go. I'll be fine.
And that's one of the things like Pastor Hennings always would teach us, like, don't ever like put your husband out.
Yep.
I always think about that because I'm quick to, I'm really dramatic when I get upset.
Like, bye.
And that'd be my first mindset. Like, but I always think about that. Like, I'm like, dang, I ain't gonna put the man out. But I don't even know if the man would leave.
I think he called me out on that. He said, Pastor said that you're not supposed to put me out. I swear.
He drilled that like, into our heads, right? Yeah, that's something that stuck with me for sure. But you guys, okay, so you guys then separated. Now, is this the big separation, or did y'all separate, get back together, separate again?
Nope.
This was the big separation. Okay.
This was the real deal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And you guys still have these 2 beautiful children. And Nugget, let me just say how smart Nugget is. So for a second, can we talk about like how that impacted the kids, specifically Nugget, because Alyssa was very, very little.
Right. It was very, very hard on Nugget. Nugget is certainly a mama's boy, but he is his daddy's son.
Yeah.
So, and he's, well, you know, Nugget, he's so smart, right?
Yes.
And he'll call anything out.
Yeah.
You know, it was very, very difficult for Nugget because he just really didn't understand that his dad wasn't going to be home every day.
Yeah.
But he loved me so much. You know, that little boy.
He's special.
He is. I mean, it really affected him.
Yeah. He
was in kindergarten, he was in kindergarten, and he was 5, and it was a lot that happened at that time. But I remember, were you with me? I took him to McDonald's, and he was like, "What are you guys doing?"
I can't really remember.
I don't know who was with us. It was another adult with me when I was at McDonald's with my child.
Yeah.
And he was like, I couldn't believe that this little 5-year-old said, "What are you guys doing? This makes no sense. You are supposed to be together for me and my sister. This isn't good." He's 5. Kim.
No, I believe that. He was too smart even at 3. So I know he said that to you.
And he just like, and it broke my heart because I'm like, it's nothing I can do for him.
Yeah.
Right. So, flash forward maybe about 3 months, Auntie had passed.
Uh-huh.
And Auntie was very close to Nugget.
Okay.
She was like, Auntie was really like our nanny.
Yeah.
She taught me how to be a mother. So her death and then our separation played a major part. Like, you wouldn't believe. I am so grateful for his school. They are closed now, but it was a Loma D. Johnson.
Okay.
A school, charter school back at home. And they just loved my baby.
Yeah.
Like I told them from the beginning, I was like, hey, I'm not going to be that same mom I was 2 months ago because, and I told them, and they were like, we got him.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And they had my baby, Kim. They really had him. And I remember one of his teachers, she sent me a video and she was like, my baby is just sad. And she sent me a video, a Nugget. He was so angry. He was in a room throwing a chair at 5 years old.
And that's not even like Nugget. That's not even.
It's not.
Yeah.
When she texted me first, I was like, no, you got to catch a video. And she sent me the video, and right away, I got him into counseling.
Okay, that's good. So was there any time where y'all felt like, let's just fake it together for the kids? Was that ever y'all's thought process? No.
Nope.
No.
Yeah.
Because it just,
because Nugget sensed it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And even just when we just got around each other, it just there wasn't any, there was no cool, like there wasn't a chill. Like it was like still anger.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like
a little bit of like, I mean, we weren't friends.
Yeah, we weren't friends.
So it was like no good energy, so that wouldn't have worked.
None at all.
Okay.
None at all.
So you guys are separated. About how long were you guys separated?
A year and a half.
About a year and a half.
Okay, and within that year and a half, you moved to Nashville, Dom. Was that within that time?
No.
Oh, you stayed in Buffalo that whole time?
Yeah, I was in Buffalo the entire time. I would say what happened after Auntie passed, I stayed as long as I could, but I knew that I needed my mom, right? And my godmother was like I don't want to say like my husband, but I talked to my godmother like 50 times a day.
Yeah.
When the kids went with their dad, I was with her and my goddad like the entire weekend.
Yeah.
For the most part. And then, you know, she had finished school. She was finishing up school, so I was like helping her a lot and stuff. And then I just decided, you know, going into the new year, do I sign a new lease on this apartment, or do I take my behind down to Nashville with my mom so she can help me with these children?
Yeah.
And I was just like, I'm out of here.
And y'all were still separated.
We were still actually. Yeah, we were. So actually, I had filed. So let me rewind. I'm sorry. We divorced. Aaron and I divorced, legally divorced.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yep, I filed for divorce in December of 2000 and what year are we in? 16.
Okay.
And the divorce was final May of 2017.
Wow. Okay.
And we reconciled May of 2017.
What? Wait a minute.
No, it was after Elizabeth's birthday.
Right.
It
okay.
Was after that.
It finalized in May. We got back together in July.
Wow. Yep. Okay, so that's the fun part of the story that I can't wait to get to.
I know, let's small again.
You know what I'm saying? Because this is just so heavy in my throat. I got a lump in my throat and stuff.
I know, me too, girl.
Okay, so who initiated that reconciliation? Like, what was the start of that?
I don't know who. I mean, what I'll say this. I'll say that when we had Alyssa's. Was it her second birthday?
Her first birthday.
It was her first. Oh
no, her second.
It was her second birthday. When we had
a big going away party for the kids.
Alyssa's second birthday, and it was turning into like a going away party as well. You know, for them to move to Nashville within the next month and all that type of stuff. Obviously, I'm like, was I going to be included? Of course, Stacey wanted me to cook and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, who else was going to cook?
Because he could throw down, Aaron can throw down.
Set the party up, and all that type of stuff. So, like, I'm like, yeah, of course I'm going to be there. Like, I wonder how awkward it's going to be because I separated myself from anybody that was connected to Dominique.
Okay.
Like, all the church folk, the godparents, everybody. Like, I just didn't bring myself around them because I didn't want to spark nothing. Didn't want no drama. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I just kept all that separate. But came through. We had the party. Everybody was all cool.
Yeah. You can't be mad at Aaron. I wouldn't even be able to be mad at Aaron.
I'm sorry. Can I just rewind? Absolutely. I do apologize. I didn't even believe Aaron when he told me. I didn't tell that part. And to this day, because Aaron is such a good dude, Kim.
Yes.
Like, when he told me, I'm like, dude, you just don't want to be with me no more. Just say that. Don't lie. But he knew. But I'm like, he just knew that I would leave him if he say he cheated. Uh-huh. Because I just really did not. Even when he told me that little story, I'm like, that ain't even true.
Yeah, that's just kind of like, I really didn't see myself just being able to like walk out on my own. But
yeah. Aaron is a super good dude. Let it be known to the Hey Girl Hey community. That's why I wouldn't have had no scum on here because it would have been like, of course you would have done something like this. But Aaron is a good dude. That's why I'm like, I feel like anybody can fall into that.
Yeah.
Anybody. Yep. I really feel that way. So that's why I love you, Aaron. And
thank you.
Out here
but he didn't want to divorce. I
never wanted to. Me personally, when it like
the papers.
Yeah. So when it comes like whatever, the guy served me. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I just like. I didn't even take it out of the envelope, nothing. I just threw it somewhere. I'm like, okay, whatever.
I wanted him to serve him at his job.
No, like,
dramatic.
Whatever. And yeah, so be it. It all went through. And obviously we got back together. So I was like, so you blew a G for nothing. Because I wasn't gonna divorce you. I knew I wasn't going to.
Hold on to me for the rest of my life.
I knew I wasn't going to.
I was turning 30. Okay, I was like, I'm not about to be 30 and still married to some man that I'm not with. I was about to find my African king.
Aaron is like, you ain't going nowhere for real though.
I didn't sign no papers. Nothing. Didn't show up to any court hearings. Nothing. I was not doing it.
It was
like, you can have whatever you want, Dominique. Just take it.
I don't care. You got everything already anyway, so it doesn't. And it really mattered to me. But when we had that party though, that's when
we started being friends again.
That's when I mean, granted, I think it was just a little bit before that we started to become a little more friendly, but
he actually came up into because it took a while. I wouldn't let him come into my apartment when he came to get the kids.
Wow.
He would just be at the bottom stoop. And I would say, so right before the divorce, like he was like, hey, you know, you really shouldn't do this. And he was going through things in his mind, but let's rewind to Aaron not knowing how to cope with things, right? So he didn't know how to deal with that. He was just telling me, don't do this, don't do this. And he started to come up into the apartment, and, you know, like I let him come over and play a couple games with Nugget, you know, on a Friday or something like that. So that's when we started softening friends up a little again.
So were you within that period, Dom, because you dealt with depression and anxiety and all those things, were you holding on, like were you angry that whole time, or had you moved on? Had you truly moved on?
So the beginning, I was very depressed. You know, that's a whole nother segment. But it was really bad. I can remember, you know, my godparents they lived in Amherst. I lived in North Buffalo. I remember them coming in my house at 2 a.m. and my baby girl was like in her bassinet, and I was like trying to kill myself. Right. So it was very dark. And I think at that time, my godfather was like, this is over. Yeah. And he was like, you know, him and my godmother, they start packing up my house, Kim. And they're like, you got to come out closer to us. So we found me a place out, you know, by my job. I moved out to Amherst. And from then I just started to rebuild and living my life. I think I went on a couple of dates or so.
You started feeling yourself.
I was turning 30. I just really didn't want to carry that on. So I was, you know, I take my meds to keep myself balanced. And I was just determined, because remember, I was so scared to turn 30.
You really were.
Yeah. So at this time, it was just like 30 is going to be a new chapter for you, Dominique. Like this is good. You're alive. So I was really good with moving on.
Okay. And then, so I just wish I knew, and it probably was just God, I don't know, but like what softened your heart? Like what started to soften your heart towards Aaron?
I loved Aaron.
Yeah.
I hated him for what he had put me through, right? And the hurt that I experienced, and, you know, just so long, you know? But this is the man that I've always been with. Yeah. You know what I mean? This is the only man that I know. Yeah. You know? So, I don't know. I think when we dropped the children off, that did something to Aaron. And keep in mind, my family never, and I'm talking about my mother and my siblings, they never disconnected from Aaron, and it infuriated me. Like I didn't talk to them for long periods of time because they would still send text to Aaron. So when we dropped the kids off, it was like nothing to them. Yeah. You know, like he could have stayed at a hotel until we went back to Buffalo. No, he slept right on my mama couch. You know, and I think then, and just seeing what that was doing to him, I think that's soft. And then we had a very long ride back home together. Because we took a U-Haul. He drove with Nugget in the U-Haul. I drove with Alyssa in my truck. Okay. To drop everything off. And then we had to come back in my truck together.
I love those long rides.
Girl, that was a long ride. That's when
I be counseling Jesse on the long rides. I'd be like, boo, tell me about your childhood, how you felt at this point in your life.
Because you are definitely a doctor.
Because you stuck in that car. That's when I counsel. I'm a doctor. That's when I do my counseling. Oh, my gosh. That's all you had to say. That's when you fell in love again with that car ride. It's something about that time, and it's no other distractions. You just on that road. I've been on that Nashville to Buffalo road before. Yes.
Listen.
Yes.
Ooh, that little 11 hours is
girl,
something serious.
Listen, you will conquer some things. You will. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so by the time y'all got back to Buffalo, like what Aaron, what was that like when you were like, let's just get back together? Like what was that like for you? Or what did you say?
I was still like super on the fence because you think of everything that you went through, you know, prior to, you know, having the infidelity and all that. So you're like, are we going to get back together and things are just going to be the same all over again? But ultimately, you know, just like how you said about like that moment that I had in Zion, you know, in the middle of our marriage when I wanted my family back, that's what I wanted. You know, having that birthday party, being there, everybody being together, everybody was cool. It was just like, yeah, like I want my son, I want my daughter. I don't want some other man, you know, raising my daughter.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Raising my son.
Tell her what album.
What?
Because, you know, we love Beyonce.
Yes.
Remember what album helped you out a lot, you said?
It was a Beyonce song?
No, Jay-Z.
No, the
Remember?
Kanye song?
No, Jay-Z, another man throwing a
Oh,
bottle
Future.
on fun or something.
Yeah. The one where he was
Grown
like,
Man album.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah. So it's just
That
it
brought
was
you
just
to-
that though. It was just all of that kind of just, you know, started to come together, and I'm just like, there's no way I can let them go to Nashville and just stay here in Buffalo and, you know, do this, like seeing my kids maybe for Christmas, maybe for a birthday. Like I was not about to do all those maybes. I couldn't do that. So I was just like, you know what? Like this that's going on over here on the side really isn't worth it. It's just not there. It's not going to work. It's not going to happen. I have to have my family back. I have to have my wife back. I have to have my kids back. Let's get this back on the road and keep it going. You know.
So we were allowed to date for a month because the kids
they were in Nashville.
So Nugget had no idea. So we just, and I was set to leave. The day of his birthday. So,
yep, I put my 2-week notice in at work. Told him, you know, just like 2 weeks, I'm moving to Nashville. Yeah. And like, you know, some people, you know, within work kind of seen a lot of stuff that I was struggling with. Yeah. And they knew, you know, some of the stuff I was going through. And, you know, once I told them, especially like my, you know, superiors, they were like, I'm so happy for you. Wow. Like they were like ecstatic.
They did a whole event like for us.
They were ecstatic. Yeah. Like they were just like, you're making like the best, like, you know, the second best decision that you probably made in your life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that was huge. You know, 2-week notice, and then before I knew it, we packed up our 2 cars and we were out of there.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
When I found out y'all got back together, I was so excited. I was like, oh my God, this is the best reunion ever of life. Like, it just made my heart so glad. Like, did y'all just have the best, like, make love session after that reunion? Like, how beautiful was that?
And I feel so bad because I set an expectation. And I'm just like, because I mean, it was like all the time because I wasn't getting none.
Yeah, you had to catch up. You had to catch up. Oh my goodness. So Dom, okay, so now y'all are back into this. When did y'all get remarried? Did y'all legally get remarried?
We did.
Yeah, we did it at the Rochester church.
Okay.
We went back home.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I just had to ask. That was just a random question. I just wanted to know.
It was March 18th. We don't really count it. I'm counting all my years. Okay?
I know that's right. Yeah. We don't take nothing away from that. You might want to take that one little month y'all was really divorced. Right. That's it. Yep. So Dom, how do you process now, like being with a man that did do that to you, but now like y'all have reconciled? So how do you process like trusting him? How do you process working through those things that kind of got y'all to that place now?
So I mean, Honestly, the entire time, well, not the entire time, but the latter part of our separation, like I said, I really began to do a lot of soul searching.
Yeah.
And I always tell you, I don't like to play deep, right? What I said is what I said. And I just kind of found out about myself. I found out so many people loved and supported me through that time.
Yeah.
I won't even play that story. Oh, I found out who my real friends were. No, I already knew who my real friends were at that time. I just had such an amazing amount of support.
Yeah.
So it's very important for me to, that's where my blog came in from, Intentionally Down.
Yes.
For me to make every day, be intentional every day.
Yeah.
And beyond every day, you have to like go down every minute. Everything that I do, I had to be very strategic about it, right?
Yeah.
Make it make sense. So when it came time, for us getting back together, I had dealt with so much. I had done therapy. So I had forgiven Aaron for that. And we just have limits.
Yeah.
Some places our conversations won't go. And it's not that we're trying to push it under a rug. It's just an unnecessary conversation.
Yeah.
So, I just make it a fact for us to be real. So how do I deal with it? I think I deal with it by us being honest.
Yeah.
Being able to talk about this or, me doing like the blog or, we do our lives on Facebook. It's just us being real and who we are. And that just makes it easier because at the end of the day, Aaron is a good dude. He has always been a really good guy. He fell. And we both played a part in it. It was never my fault. And that's one thing my godmother told me from the very beginning.
Yeah.
That is not your fault. What he did, I don't care what he tells you, how he make you feel. Nothing that I did directly made him go out and do that to you.
Sure.
However, we both played parts into the separation. So, us just being real about it, I think helps me a lot. And just Aaron, how he is just makes it easier. He doesn't make it difficult.
Yeah. And Aaron, so do you feel like now after you lost your family, got it back, if you ever feel like a level of temptation or feel a level of being overwhelmed again, do you feel like, or even just speaking to men, like how should men deal with that in that position? Like, what do you feel like is the best way to deal with those feelings that I feel like every man probably has?
Yeah. What I would say is you don't want to definitely go talk to another female about it.
Yes.
So, if you got some bros or, just obviously, you want to talk to, another man that's married. You don't want to talk to a single guy, granted, can they possibly give good advice? Yeah, they can. But, you want to talk to somebody that, really has some knowledge, someone that's been there, someone that's married, even if it's, reaching out to some type of counsel, or even, sitting down and really trying to hash it out, with your other half and really like talk about what's going on.
Yeah.
Or even if it seems like it's going to bubble up to another fight, just try and sit there and hash it out the best way you can, but I think it's definitely keep the women out of it. You don't want to do that. You don't want to go.
You don't, because I've developed a new level of crazy.
Ain't gonna go that way again. I will stab you.
just putting that out there.
For sure. But that, listen, everything y'all said has been so real, so good, and so real, and like. I'm sure men like deal with like you're going through something terrible and a woman comes and you want to share with them, like, and then as a woman on the other side of that, whoever she was, that tramp, not saying no, you're not a tramp, you're not a tramp, whoever you were,
you said it.
But seriously, it's a vulnerable space for both of y'all, because then that other woman is seeing you be vulnerable, which is attractive to women. So it's like, of course, like talk to another guy, you know, talk to somebody who is going to talk you off a ledge. And even like you mentioned, like a church dude, which I feel like, of course, that's an amazing to have friends who share your faith. But I think just men in general, like, I really think men want to be with their wives. Men want to be with their family. But a lot of times, like you said, they fail. And I think it's important, Aaron, that you acknowledge, like, that you wanted to fight for that family. It wasn't about you being a church dude. It was about you being a good dude at the end of the day. Yeah. And there's a lot of good dudes who fall victim to just being in a vulnerable situation and just letting that go too far. So when I tell you, like, I am so excited for y'all and I just can't wait.
Thank you.
I feel like y'all need to be like speaking at like marriage conferences and stuff. For real. It don't even have to be churchy, but it's like, you're not hearing these conversations. And I love that y'all made it back to the other side to tell this story.
Sorry.
What? Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm super excited too. I do think from the very beginning, I told you, Kim, already. I know that God did this all for a reason.
Yeah.
You know, Aaron knew, even reconciling, he knew that this conversation would come about because I've always been an advocate for, you know, like mental health and, you know, stuff like that. And it just tied in, like our separation and divorce and reconciliation just tied in with that. And I always wanted to tell this story whether we got back together or not.
Yeah.
Because of what I went through. So I'm just super grateful. You know, we're still, you know, a regular couple and we go through spats and stuff like that.
Sure.
But I'm just like so grateful that Aaron allows me to be who I am and he's okay with discussing this because, you know, I don't ever want anybody to look at him like he's a bad guy. So I'm just super grateful that he like pushes me to do this. Yeah. I know I am. I'm just super grateful.
Well, I love y'all. Can y'all give each other a little kiss for the people? Okay.
You're so weird.
I know. I never did that before.
You're so
but
weird.
I just felt
that out.
No, I'm not. I'm not editing it. But I love y'all. This conversation was amazing, and I don't want to keep y'all any longer. So thank y'all so very much. I feel like people are probably going to have questions, comments, and all type of stuff. So I will send them to Intentionally Dom.
Yeah, you can hit me up on Facebook or Insta.
Yeah, tell your give your Instagram and your social media so they can find you guys.
Yeah, so our handles or my handle, whatever, is Intentionally Dom. It is on Insta and Facebook and Twitter. Okay. So it is what it is. So we actually do like lives, you know, every once in a while, just talking about marriage and parenting and things like that. So check us out.
I love y'all. Thank y'all so much. Do y'all have anything else y'all would like to say? You probably like, I done poured my heart out. I'm done.
I did. I need to have a glass of wine at 12:02.
Y'all did a great job. Y'all did a really, really great job talking about a difficult conversation. So thank y'all so much.
Thank you, Kim. I appreciate it.
Definitely appreciate, you know, you and having us on here. It was cool to talk about it, you know, and I enjoyed it.
I hope it helps someone.
It will absolutely help many. I love y'all.
Love you too, girl.
So bye, guys. Bye.
Bye, girl. Oh, but I don't know. Bye, girl. Bye.
Yeah. Okay.